Recording started. Happy Wednesday morning, March 11th. So excited for today. So excited to learn from Kelsey, and I want to really quick go over a couple announcements just to make sure that you guys are on the same, that everybody's on the same page. Hold on. Okay, so I posted in our Level Up group, I think it was the only place that I actually posted this, that what the March Success Club prize is for our team. So it's a mug that I found that I really love because it's kind of going with the theme of where we're all growing. Everyone is really growing and being strong and courageous, and that is what the mug is. So we are, I put it in bold so everyone saw, but it's for SC10. This month and this next month, we're really pushing ourselves to grow. Our focus this month is Diamond Strong, what that means and what it means for you beyond just the title. Like what that means. So many of you have shared with me what your vision is for the future as far as, you know, being able to take your family on a vacation or being able to furnish your new house be a safe haven for people, or like these powerful things. And so I want to remind you, like, this is more why we're pushing forward in rank and in our business. It's more than just the sparkly things. It's more than just the title. It's your life, right? It's your family, it's your kids, it's your legacy. And in order for a lot of those things to happen, we need growth in our business. We need growth of influence, and we need growth in our income. That's just part of it. I also want to remind you about the Success Club retention points. You all, if you had Success Club points last month, you should have gotten an email that all of your new people, if they, I'm going to totally butcher this explanation, but so read your email. But if they reorder, if you retain them this month, you get 1 Success Club point per an accumulated, oh my gosh, accumulated volume points. And now I can't remember what that is off the top of my head. But look into that, because I think I got already 1 for this month, it's actually a really cool program. It's incentivizing us to follow up with our people after we sign them up, right? It's not just about like, cool, you signed up, bye. It's continuing to keep them plugged in. And then lastly is about 10 rounds. I'm not sure if you guys saw my post. I personally have decided I'm going to do a test group for my people, and I'm doing it on Facebook, even though all of our groups are through the Challenge Tracker app. I really struggle running multiple groups on the Challenge Tracker app myself. And this business, remember, we're all learning, like we have to do what works for us. And that's going to be different for a lot of people. So it's really important for you to do what works for you, what brings you joy. Again, with 10 rounds, it's not going to be something that everyone resonates with. I know Dee was like, I cannot stand Joel. So that wouldn't bring her joy necessarily to invite people to. He's one of my favorites, and I love boxing, and I just love the whole vibe of the program. So something that brings me joy, I'm excited to do it. So I'm going to create a test group. I'm just going to call it that, and invite people to it, invite customers and invite new people. So just a reminder on the launch dates, the coach launch date is on the 16th of this month, which is Monday. And then the customer one is on the 6th of April. We actually, through my corporate 5 to 8 star group, have an opportunity to jump on a call with Joel tonight at 6:30. So I'll be posting that in our team page in case anyone wants to jump on that. By no means required, but if you want to hear from him about the program and see his face, then you can jump on the call. Okay, that's all that I have. Now for our guest of honor, Kelsey Smith. I'm so excited for what Kelsey is going to share with us this morning. You guys saw some of the really cool things in my post, in my introduction post. What? I'm not sure what's happening over here. Of what Kelsey has accomplished in her coaching career. You need to go potty? Wash your body? I don't understand what's happening. Come here. You can say hi. Say Kelsey is 7-star in her first CBC, 3-star in her second, 1-star in another one. She's a total rock star, someone who I've looked up to in this business since I started, and just in her creativity, and she really exemplifies what it means to be the boss of your own business. Like, to be a CEO of your own business, to be creative and put your own spin on things, and to figure it out, to do your own way, even when, 400,000 coaches are doing a launch or doing a program. She really has a gift at making it her own. And I think we all can learn from that. And I'm so excited to hear from her today about burning the rule book. Throwing in, I know so many of you have struggled with this. We try to do things like everyone else, and then we struggle because that's not who we are, and it's not a fit. And then it makes you, what? I don't know what you're saying. You want me to kiss your knee? Yeah. Oh, okay. Hold, please. This is very important. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness. When it doesn't work for us to do it like somebody else, their doubt sets in, right? Oh, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. It robs our joy because it's not authentic to who we are. So I'm so excited. I'm not going to talk anymore. Kels, I'm turning it over to you. Thank you so much for chatting with us this morning.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. And I love like watching all of this, like just seeing kids in all these boxes, because I guess it's getting me prepared for what I should be expecting. It's just like you can't finish a sentence, all the things. I love it. I'm so honored to be here. I have so many great things to say about you too, Jess. Honestly, I always get like I'm one of those people that get super weird when somebody starts like introducing me like that. 'Cause it's like, you don't ever, you know what I mean? Like you don't see yourself like that. You're just somebody that made that decision a couple of years ago. And like Jess said today, we were talking about like what she thought you guys would benefit from. And I just started doing this call recently because it was something that I personally was going through. And I'm one of those people where you have to kind of experience it before you can teach it. So I'm never going to be the type of person that comes onto a call that tries to tell you guys to do something that I haven't personally either failed at myself or still am kind of going through, or, all those things. Like when I come on and talk to different teams, I always make sure that, I'm sharing lessons that I've personally learned because I want to help you guys move forward too. So in order for me to effectively do this call, I need to kind of take you back to the beginning, because if you don't know how I started and where I came from and all of the hesitations, doubts, failures I've gone through on the way here, you're not going to understand why this is so freaking important to me in regard to being your true authentic self and building this business the way that you are supposed to build it. So for those of you who do not know who I am, I'm Kelsey. Jess gave you all the cool, fun accolades. But what I really am is somebody who has failed and fallen flat on her face thousands and thousands of times. I am someone who started this business back in 2014 because I really didn't have another choice. Coaching came into my life when I needed it the most, and I'm sure a lot of you can probably relate to that. I didn't know it at the time. So to give you a little bit of backstory, I've battled depression and anxiety for as long as I can remember. It started for me when I was a kid, when I was starting to get bullied. And you guys all remember, we're all women, we all know middle school is brutal. And that's kind of when it started kicking in for me. And every time that after that started happening, every time something was off in my life, or I felt those same emotions that I felt when I was a young girl, like I'd fall into this state of sadness and panic. So how many of you guys have dealt with depression and anxiety in your life? Okay, so you probably have an idea of what I'm talking about here. It's like there's certain things that kind of trigger you. And my parents didn't know how to help me through this. They didn't know how to fix me, I guess. And like my parents are amazing people, but at the same time, it's like they didn't know what to do. So they got me on antidepressants when I was younger, and I would definitely feel better for a little bit, but before I knew it, something else would happen to trigger it, because anxiety just happens. Depression just happens. And I remember when my best friend passed away in a car accident in 2009, that was the worst it ever got. And it was the darkest part of my life. And I remember just carrying so much anger and so much sadness, and it affected every part of my life through the remainder of college, into my first career as a full-time news reporter, and beyond that. Honestly, I was angry. I was a miserable human being. I was, mad at God for taking her away from me. I was, drinking a lot. I used my way of coping to just go to bars as a kid and just get myself blacked out drunk. And before I knew it, like I didn't even recognize myself anymore. But I still was ambitious. My drive in my life has never changed. Like whenever I want something, I go after it. So for me, it was like I was still going through all this stuff mentally, but I had drive. Like I knew what I wanted to do with my life, and like I said, it was to be a sports reporter. I was going to be the next Susie Colbert on the NFL sidelines. But the thing is when you guys are younger, if you guys remember back in school, and we pick these careers, nobody tells us the negatives of that career. They never tell you like, hey, you're going to get paid very little, or hey, like you're going to get treated like crap by your boss, or hey, you're going to have to sacrifice time away from your family in order to advance in your career. Like nobody tells you that stuff when you're applying for jobs, right? They just tell you that you need to graduate in 3.5, 4 years and go after it. So I started my news career at a small news station in Clarksburg, West Virginia. And my news salary was $21,000 a year, which came out to about $500 every 2 weeks after taxes was taken out. I lived in this really disgusting, horrible apartment where the roof leaked. I didn't feel safe. There were countless times where I remember having to pack bags and drive to the gym because my water heater would go out. But it was all that I could afford. I couldn't afford to live in this nice apartment. And I remember coming home one day and there was a $600 electric bill in my mailbox. And I was on the phone with the company just crying my eyes out because that was more than what I made in 2 weeks. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I had to be put on a payment plan to pay my electric bill. And, it was at the point where I was choosing between gas and groceries. And then the depression just came hitting me even farther. So in April 2014, that's when I was at my lowest. I was scrolling social media and I came across a post from this girl that I used to work with at a bar when I lived in Morgantown. And honestly, I remember being super thrown off by it. She was super happy. She was super fulfilled. And the last thing that you want to see when you're barely hanging on to your life is someone living their best life, right? So I remember like hiding her and like being like, no, I don't want anything to do with this. And I kept scrolling. But the beauty, and I always tell my coaches this, is like the beauty about her is that she was consistent as hell. She showed up every single day. And back in 2014, we were encouraged to post like 3 to 5 times a day. Like now we only have to post once a day, but back then it was 3 to 5 times a day. So I saw her face all the time. Sorry, he's the worst. So I saw her face all the time. And let me let him out 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay. But I saw her face all the time. And then I finally was like, you know what is she doing? And so I reached out to her and I asked, because it was just after 21 Day Fix came out, the DVDs, the old school DVDs. And it was really popular back then. It was just starting to come out. And it was a month after that. And like, it was the point where if you were around back then, I don't know if any of you were, it was on back order. Like that's what we used to have to deal with for launches, is that the programs would be on back order. And I remember reaching out to her and being like, and asking her about it. And she explained it all like in one big giant paragraph. And I ran for the hills. I was like, no, thank you. I was like, I'm not doing this. I don't want Shakeology, all the things. And so I'm one of those people that went on teambeachbody.com and bought the DVDs myself. So I didn't have to buy Shakeology. Like I was that girl. So never count those people out that do that to you, because they might be your next elite coach. You never know. But with that being said, when my package came in the mail, I went all in. Like I was excited about it. I was like, okay, this is something that I can do to like pull myself out of this depression. I don't know where it's going to take me, but whatever. I lost 7 pounds. I was excited about it. But since I was doing it on my own, I didn't have a challenge group or even a coach. I was just doing this all by myself. But I kept reaching out to her, and God bless her. Like even despite the fact that I never signed up with her, she still helped me. She still gave me recipes. She still showed me how to do it. She still did all these things. And she posted this thing about Shakeology one day saying she was sending out free samples. And I'm like, free, I'll take one. And that's kind of when the whole thing started. I was a believer. I was a believer before I even finished the program. And I wanted everybody to know about it. So I reached back out to her because I trusted her, because she didn't seem like somebody that was just trying to make a commission off me. And I asked her what was next, and she signed me up with a T25 challenge pack. I signed up as a coach to get the discount on Shakeology. But the reason that I decided in the moment that I signed up, I was like, why not at least try this? Because I can't afford Shakeology. Why not at least try this? And that's kind of when I went, and I was never one of those people that just dipped one toe in and one toe out, because I don't believe that's how this business is built. If you are indecisive and always going back and forth on whether or not you're going to do it, that's exactly what's going to happen in your business. So I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. So the reason I start with my story is because it leads into that topic that I want to talk to you guys about today. And that's choosing yourself and burning this rule book. Because at the end of the day, my question for you is, how many of us are succumbing to some kind of rule book in this Beachbody world? Do the Success Club tracker, post on social media, follow top coaches and see what they're doing, talk about Shakeology, talk about our programs, make sure we rank advance, right? We have this thing that we're told to do the moment we sign up, because we fall into this trap of, I want to do all these things. I want to achieve all these things in the company. I want to achieve, yes, and even in life, like, there's this rule book that our brains have made us follow, that all these things that we've gone through in our lives has developed, into this persona of who we're supposed to be. And the same thing happens in this business. And the thing is, if you don't do all those things, if you don't post on social media, if you don't work advance, if you're not a premier elite coach, right, you feel like a failure, right? You feel like you fail. You feel like you're not doing this right. You're not as good as other coaches in the network who are doing it. And then all of a sudden you believe that this is not for you. And the thing that I believe is, the reason that coaches quit isn't because they suck at this, because anyone can be great at this. Every single person on this call right now, anybody that watches this recording, you have the ability to be spectacular at this business. But people quit because they lose sight of why they started in the first place. They lose sight because they fall victim to comparison in this cookie cutter mold of how they think it should be. I'm not successful because I'm not like XYZ. I'm not successful because this girl talking to me on this call is a 7-star diamond and I'm an emerald. That means nothing, right? It means nothing. The truth is, when it comes to this business, guys, we have enough blueprints, we have enough tactics to make our heads spin. You can go anywhere. And I know Jessica, she probably gives you guys 1,000,002 resources of how to be successful in this business. I'm the same way with my team. Everywhere we turn, there's somebody trying to share a formula or a training with us on how to be successful in this business. I mean, think about it. Every Monday we have national wake-up calls teaching us how to do all these things. We have team calls like this one to educate us and light us up. We follow all the people who have found success before us, and a majority of us never shape our businesses into what they could become because we're trying to be carbon copies of everybody else. How many of us are guilty of getting on a national wake-up call thinking we figured out challenge groups, then hear somebody else that talk about challenge groups and say, oh, I have to change everything, right? That's what I'm talking about. Or, oh my God, I finally mastered inviting. I'm getting all these responses. People were actually engaging with me. But then, another coach comes on the national wake-up call and says, this is how she does it. And then you said, oh, okay, I'm going to do it that way instead, right? We're trying to be carbon copies. But I need to be honest with you guys. This is a very crowded social media world. It's very crowded. And potential coaches, potential customers, they don't need another copycat. They need you. They need you, the raw you, the real you, the rule breaking, F-bomb dropping, whatever you are, you, right? And the thing is like, they need the you that knows exactly what she wants and who she is. And a lot of times in this business, we think we have to become someone else, or become Ashley Molstead, or become Melanie Mitro because they're successful. But the reason that they're successful isn't because who they are or what their name is. The reason they're successful is because they've paved their own path. They created their own blueprint in this business. And the thing is like, we need you on this call to stop looking for a permission slip to put yourself out there and chase your dreams. So essentially, I'm going to give you guys today some tips really quickly to help you squeeze out of this Beachbody box that you probably put yourself into. I'm going to help you reject the status quo and unfollow all the people that make you feel like you're doing it wrong. Because when we do this, you can actually tune into the type of business that you actually want to run and do things your way. Does that sound good? Okay, good. Let me take a sip of water because I ran out of breath in 3 seconds now. Okay, so with that being said, it's time to choose yourself, okay? So I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to build your business the way you want to and not the way that people expect it out of you. Number 1 is choose yourself. Stop waiting to be chosen. Stop it. How many of you find yourself checking Instagram 100 times a day, seeing how many likes your post got, or seeing how many comments are on your posts, or seeing if people are watching your stories? We're all guilty of it, and if any of you say that that's not true, you're lying. We do it like on auto. Like we'll just be sitting there hanging out with our kids or feeding our kids or whatever, and then literally find our thumb just doing it on its own. Checking and refreshing and refreshing. The thing is that the majority of our coaching network is living in a scarcity mindset to be picked. They're waiting, they're hesitant, right? They're waiting to be picked. They're like posting on social media and waiting for somebody to come to them. Or they're sending an invite and they're thinking like that's the last step, right? It's a scarcity mindset. And what ends up happening with this mindset is that it creates massive anxiety in your life and it actually prevents you from actually working. Whenever we're sitting there waiting for approval from other people and to get that viral post that we think we're supposed to get, or to get, posts about your challenge group and to get 30 messages in your inbox, you're waiting for somebody to choose you. But at the end of the day, guys, successful coaches don't wait for their big break. They create their big break. They're not going to wait for this rank advancement or to become a diamond coach in order to start feeling like a leader. They're not going to wait for this viral post to share their truth on social media. They take the reins and they make this stuff happen for themselves. Also, just a side note, why are you looking for validation in places full of people who wouldn't dare do what you're doing? Why are we sitting there waiting for scrolling and refreshing our feeds whenever that person that probably likes your post wouldn't dare try what you're doing? They would never put their story out on social media like that. Think about that. Stop waiting for them to choose you. Choose yourself. That leads to number 2, and it leads right into it. Stop looking for approval and absorbing yourself in what other people think of you. I always tell my team this, it's literally in our team page. Crown yourself, queen. Crown yourself. Stop waiting for enough likes or comments or hitting elite or hitting diamond or hitting star diamond to start building this thing the way you want to. I know a lot of you guys are pushing for diamond strong right now, and that is so badass to me. That is so cool. But you don't need to be there and see that title in your Coach Online office for you to start acting like that right now. You don't need to see 5-star diamond in your organization to start acting like a 5-star diamond. The problem is, and why people don't do this, is because they suffer from imposter syndrome. And Mel Robbins talks about this all the time. And she talks about that feeling where one day you're going to be exposed as a fraud for not being good enough at what you're doing. Because I want you to understand something. You're not an imposter for trying something new. And you most definitely don't need somebody else's approval to go for it. The fastest way for you to plow through self-doubt is through action. It's doing it anyway. And the sooner that you can give yourself permission to build the business of your dreams, the sooner it can happen for you, right? Nobody is responsible for making this happen for you. And as great as Jessica is, and I know this about her, and she is not responsible for building your business. She's responsible for building her business. Her upline Liz is not responsible for building Jessica's business. My coach isn't responsible for building mine. And we all the time are like looking for this next thing and somebody else's opinion or somebody else's approval to start making this happen for us. Guys, did you guys know that your upline doesn't have to do shit for you? It literally is in our policies and procedures that we don't have to support our organization. We can enroll you, and essentially it's crappy. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but at the end of the day, like, we don't have, I can enroll somebody as a coach on my team and be like, they'll figure it out. We are a part of an organization where our coach goes above and beyond what they're paid to help you succeed. If I look at the amount of time that I invest in my team, I'm definitely not getting paid for it. I do it out of the kindness of my heart because I want my team to succeed. But the reason that I bring that up is because you're responsible for making this happen for you. And I know when my team succeeds, I succeed. So I'm going to pour into my team. The thing is, guys, you must clearly and confidently chase your goals and step into that next version of you, no matter how many customers you have, no matter how much money you're making or how much validation that you're getting on the inside, from the outside. I'm going to share with you guys, like, I had a massive failure in 2019. Massive failure. I was a 3-time elite coach. I hit in 2017, 2018, and I was like, so it always goes a year ahead. So you guys know, like, whenever you're 2017, you hit 2016. So it was 2017, 2018, 2019 elite coach, and my team was rocking it. We were on fire. And last year we missed it for the very first time, and in 3 years. And I was torn up about it. Stop it. Hold on. I was torn up about it, guys. Like, I was like a mess. And the thing that kind of brought me back down to reality is I realized, one, I put myself in a box. I was using that to like validate my worth. And two, what really made me realize, like, hey, you're okay, is because I woke up on January 1st and my business was still there. I woke up on January 1st and I still had a great freaking paycheck that week. None of my coaches quit. I was still alive. Like, I was still there. And the thing is that I had to realize is that just because I didn't hit elite this year, just because I'm not going to get a fancy little gift at Summit, or just because I'm not going to be able to do something, like, yes, that stuff is still important to me. And yes, I strive to do that stuff. But just because I didn't get that this year does not make me a bad coach. And that's what I'm talking about when you put yourself in a box. I was waiting for Beachbody to give me that validation to feel like I was a good coach. But I'm telling you right now, when I'm sitting here with this little girl that's about to come into this world any day now, in my stomach, I'm not going to be thinking about telling her stories about the time I walked across the stage at Summit for 2 minutes. Not even. It's literally like 20 seconds. We're like, Kelsey Smith, Simply Beautiful, and then it's over. It's like that. It's like done, right? Then nobody remembers. They're on the next person. I'm not going to be talking to her about that in 10 years from now. But what I will be telling her about is the fact that I built a freaking empire that changed our entire life. And I didn't need somebody else's approval for me to go after that. I didn't need Beachbody to call me an elite coach to know that I made a difference in the year she was born. That maybe I'm not a 2020 elite coach, but I'm a mom in 2020. And that's a cooler accomplishment to me. And I never would be able to become a mom if I didn't take on this business, because I had to pay for infertility treatments to get pregnant. That's the story I want to tell. And I didn't wait for somebody's approval to do that. So the thing is yes, am I pushing for elite 2021? Hell yeah. I'm not done. I'm not like gonna just like fall on the face of the go, it's not important, right? But instead I'm gonna rebound in the process, but I'm literally going to go and exceed in every area of my business this year. I'm not gonna make that my entire focus. So that brings me to number 3. No failure is a possibility, but do it anyway. And guys, you've heard this before. You've heard that it's important to fail, to fall flat in your face, but yet we're still scared of it. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is the hardest one for me personally, because if you guys know, I have a podcast called the Control Freak Podcast. I'm a control freak. And so this is very painful for me to say, okay? We have to become addicted to the feeling of not knowing what's going to happen next. And that is so hard. You have to value the experience over winning. Experience is everything. When we become attached to an outcome, that's when things start falling apart for us. And the thing is, without rejection, without falling flat on our face, without failing, there's no way for us to reinvent ourselves. Okay? We have to keep building anyway. Who cares if somebody told you no? Who cares if somebody was a giant butthead in your inbox or on your recent post? Every single time that happens to me, I used to get crippled by it. I want to be in control. I want people to like me. Like, I've gone through all of these different things. But what I've realized is that God places those people in our lives because it's a sign for us to pivot. It's a sign, it's a lesson, it's a clue that's getting me closer to my next step. You know, it's like, okay, if I'm inviting, think about it, guys. If I've sent the same invite to 20 people and 0 people responded, does that make me a bad coach? Or do I need to pivot and readjust my invite? It doesn't make me a bad coach. It means that my invite's not working, right? If I posted something, and especially all of us, you know, I see a lot of moms on here, you post something about pregnancy and motherhood on social media, woo! It is a disaster out there, man. It's like freaking bombs coming out. I've never seen some of these, just like how many different opinions come on the one different post, right? Or like if you say one thing on your story, like, I'm uncomfortable, it's like you're not grateful for being pregnant. It's like the most insane thing ever. But the thing is like, who cares? Goodbye, get out. I don't need you here, right? The thing is like every time that stuff happens, like, we have to remember, guys, it's still our job to get ourselves in front of as many people as possible. It's like you have to keep mastering your skills. You have to keep learning, and you have to keep looking for ways to grow within each failure. So I encourage you guys to ask yourself, like, how do you personally handle rejection? Do you freak out and shut down? Do you get defensive? Guys, I get defensive. I'm a defensive person. Like, if somebody's mean, I have this need, as somebody that was like I said, younger, bullied, I have this need to like say something back. And I do in the notes section of my phone, and then I delete it. I get it out of my system, and then I block them. Because the thing is like, we need to understand how we're handling this stuff so that way we can change our perspective. We can change this stuff. So look for the value in the obstacles instead of finding the reasons that we cannot do this. Okay, number 4, proudly own who you are. Proudly own who you are. When people talk about you guys, like, they're talking about your brand. Whether they have an amazing experience with you or a positive experience with you, it reflects who you are. You are your brand. And I know a lot of times I hear people say, like, pick the 5 things that are closest to you or whatever. And like, yeah, that's a great place to start. But everything about you and who you are, all the tiny little components out there that make you who you are, that's your brand. And people are defining or are working every day to define your brand and make you into something that they think that you are. And then they can actually convince you that that is who you are. It happens all the time. But I need to make something very clear, because a lot of coaches struggle with this. Beachbody is not your brand. Beachbody is Beachbody. Jessica is Jessica. Sarah is Sarah. Rebecca, you are Rebecca. You are not Beachbody. Your brand is what is important to you. Your brand and what you need to be talking about constantly is essentially like, if you were to write a mission statement out for your life, that's your brand. What's your purpose in this world? You know, because that's what your business needs to be built around. I see all the time. How many of you guys go on social media and see that picture of the coach smiling with her Shakeology, like just smiling with it? How many of us see it? We see it all the time, right? Or you see, you know, the post-workout selfies, them just standing there flexing. If you've done this, guys, I have too. Don't get all like weird about it. It's a thing. We all do it. Or they'll post themselves in their Beachbody gear, or they'll say the product names like lift 4 or 10 rounds. And it's going to work for a little bit. It will. It'll work for the first couple of weeks, maybe. But what you've done when you're doing that is somebody's coming to your page and they're saying Beachbody coach right off the bat. And that literally, and this is most important for new coaches, because they're looking at you and they're saying, Beachbody coach, okay, there's 37 of those on my feed right now. Why should I choose you, right? So my thing is like, if I go to your page right now, do I know who you are, or do I know what you're a part of? The thing is, guys, you have to shine your light, because unless you shine your light, you're not giving permission to other people to do the same thing. You have to tell your story. You have to own who you are. You have to write it. You have to whisper it. You have to shout it. Whatever you have to do, but you have to tell it. And some people are not going to understand it. People are going to reject it. But there's going to be so many more that thank you for it. And then all of a sudden, this incredible thing happens. One by one, people will start saying, me too. That's me. I see myself in your story. And your tribe will gather. Your people will find you. So instead of trying to reach all the people, try to reach one person. It's crazy because like we get so stuck in what everybody else is doing when all we need to be doing is just being ourselves. You want to know how to build a really successful organization? Do you really want to know how to build a diamond strong account? Be you. Because then they'll start saying me too. The year that I went 5-star elite, I went emerald to 5-star elite in 12 months. You know how I did it? I was myself. It wasn't just another Beachbody coach out there. January 1st to December 31st of 2016, I built an elite team when my account was falling apart at the end of 2018 or 2015. You don't need to be the most well-known. You need to be making an impact. My 5 diamonds that year were down a combined 300 pounds. That's stuff to think about. Impact. And last but not least, number 5, have a vision for your business. And we're part of an organization. I know you guys are part of Liz's organization, so you probably have heard vision, goals, all the things. So I'm not going to spend too much time here. But if you really want to get yourself out of the box and choose yourself and burn this rule book, you got to know what you're fighting for. You got to know why this is so important. Like the last thing that I want you to do is for you to open your eyes in the morning of December 31st and realize that absolutely nothing has changed this year. That's a horror story, in my opinion. You're in the exact same spot. If you were in the exact same spot as you were at the end of 2019 or maybe 2018, like for me, that's scary. I'm wasting time. And I don't know about you, but it scares me to death to think that I could be coasting through my life making zero impact on this world. That I could be miserable 1 year from now in a job that I hate, right? Or that I'm 60 or 70 years old sitting in my rocker with a life full of regret. No, thank you. Listen, guys, we all have the potential of being something great. We all have something buried deep within us. It's like wants to be exposed, but for some reason we're so scared. We all have creative ideas. We all have unlimited potential, and we all have this power that's buried so deep within us that if you guys could find like one tiny part of that power, it would change your entire life. But instead, you're looking at Ashley Bolstead or Holly Hillier or Jess or Liz. And you're saying that's how it needs to be built in order to be successful. There is no rule book to this. You get to build this however you want. Now, I want to make something clear. That doesn't mean that you can sit on your ass for the next 12 months and not do anything and expect to be making, 6 figures. What I am saying is decide what you want, be 1000% clear on it, and make it happen. What I do with my team, I'll leave this with you guys and then I'll be done. But what I do with my team is I want you guys to pull out a piece of paper, put it in 4 quadrants, okay? 1 to 10 in each category. What do you want out of your life physically, financially, personally, and in your business? 4, okay? Physically, financially, personally, and business. You are not allowed to touch the business category until the first 3 are done. And here's why. So when you say physically, is it for me, my quadrants would say something like, pull mine out. This is what I'm talking, this is kind of what it looks like, okay? So my quadrants would say something like complete ultimate reset, complete 10 rounds, start to finish. Run 5K races this year. It would say prioritize self-care. Like, what do you want to do physically, right? Okay. Financially, how much do you want to earn this year? How much do you want in savings? You know, like for me, I have all my hospital bills paid in cash. I have pay off our Volvo. I have different things like that. Personally, this is where you get to have fun. Do you want to go to Disney World with your kids? You know, like, do you want to, I wrote down write my first book. I wrote down plan 2021 retreat for my team. I wrote down go to Rise Business Conference in Austin. So what do you want to achieve personally? Why I still you need to do those 3 first is because you can't set your business goals until you know what you're wanting out of your life. Because if you can't tell me why you're pushing for diamond, all of you that are pushing for diamond right now, then you won't do it. But if I can look, and the reason I do this with my coaches, and we always set the business goals together, is because I can't look and say, okay, so you told me that you want to pay off, you know, $2,000 of debt by the end of this year. Okay, great. Did you know that there's quarterly bonuses attached to 2-star diamond? $900 a quarter. Hey, did you know that there is, if you hit diamond, that you're going to start making $18 team cycle bonus instead of 14 as an emerald? And think about it. If we can build your weak leg, which can be one of your goals, and we can get 5 coaches on there that are emerald coaches by the end of this year, that's really going to help you out a lot. Then all of a sudden it clicks in their brain that they need, or they can say Success Club 10 All-Star because it's guaranteed $250 a month in commission. It makes way more sense to them to say why they're doing it, because once they make that $250 a month, it can go toward the Disney trip they had planned for their family. Does that make sense? It's a little bit different than just putting down, I'm going to be an emerald coach. I'm going to walk across the stage at Summit. All that stuff is great, but I want you guys to have intention for it. And then the last thing about this, now, like I said, is you'll see that there's a lot of like chicken scratch on mine. If you cannot tell me why for any of those 10 in each category, it doesn't belong there. You have to get rid of it because you won't do it anyway. And then you'll look back on December 31st and you'll see all this stuff left and you'll do the same thing. You'll feel like a failure. And really, you just didn't want it bad enough. Every single thing on my list, I can tell you why it's important to me. And I've already, in a matter of 2 months and 11 days, been able to cross like 6 things off. Because I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's make all this stuff happen. Let's go after it, right? So, in recap, and I promise you I'm done. I know I could talk forever, but this business can be whatever you want it to be. And I want you guys to understand that it won't be unless you truly embrace who you are. And you stop trying to be what everybody else is doing, and you're intentional and you know why you're doing this every single day. Because if you can do that, like if we can make a promise to ourselves and to our families, and like that's another thing, take this when you're done with it and give it to your husband. If you're not married, give it to your mom, give it to your best friend and say, this is what I'm working for us for this year, just so you know. Like I'm telling you, give it to your coach. That's the only person I would give it to in Beachbody. Because how cool is it going to be when you hand this to 5 people outside of Beachbody and say, look what I was able to do at the end of the year. I was able to change our entire life. My husband has this. He has a copy of this. He knows what I'm pushing for every year. It makes it so much easier for him to support me because he knows why I'm pushing for our family every year. And again, I'm going to have this for the rest of my life. I'm going to be able to hand this to my daughter when she's 5 years old and say, look what mommy did the year you were born. And in 2 years, whenever we go to Disney, I'm going to say, look how much money mommy saved in 2020 for you. You know, I was able to hire that travel agent. I was able to get you a spot in the Bippity Bop boutique so you could go into Disney World all fancied up. Like, that stuff excites me. But it makes me work my business. And I'm telling you right now, all of you guys that are getting super emotional and like relating to this, it's because I'm telling you my story. I'm not showing you a Shakeology shaker. I'm not posting my workout and saying this is what I'm doing for a living. I'm showing you what I'm doing this to change her life. And I'm telling you right now, March of 2022, you will see us in Disney World, and you'll remember this exact call. So think about that. What do you want for your family? What do you want for your life? Now get out of your own way and go do it. So I got for you, Jess. Hopefully that was what you were looking for.
I think everyone will agree. I'm pretty sure this is probably the most powerful call that we've ever had in the history of our team. And exactly what everyone needs, and it's exactly in alignment with what we've all just been like really it's a growth process, right? Like forcing yourself to start believing in yourself and believing in your ability to make something more incredible for your family and your future than you ever thought possible. That is the platform that we have and at our fingertips. It's just up to us to take advantage of it. So I love it. I have a couple questions, but I want to first open it up to the team. Do you guys have any questions for Kelsey specifically on anything? If so, go ahead and unmute yourself. If not, while you're thinking, I'm going to go first because I love this message so much. And I think that it's so powerful. It's been so powerful for me. It's something that I think both of us really, it was really helpful. The leadership retreat that we went to, like that was a huge moment for me where I realized, oh my gosh, I'm going after the wrong things kind of a thing. And I'm really thankful for it. So for new coaches who come in and who don't have any kind of box necessarily yet that they're putting themselves in, but they need some structure, what's kind of your process? Like, how do you balance the two with giving them structure, but still, I would imagine you definitely talk with them about vision and what they want, what they're building, but any tips on that?
You mean like how to like have them, figure out who they are and what to talk about and all that stuff?
I mean, as far as like giving them structure of activities to do, because like the Success Club tracker is helpful I found for some new coaches, but I know others, especially on our team, who it's been super paralyzing for. So yeah. What's your like balance for newer coaches?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And start to back you up, like the leadership retreat we went to was definitely kind of what changed my mindset too. Because if you remember, I was like emotional disaster about missing, like not being on track for elite at that point and just falling apart. So it was definitely helpful. What I do with my new coaches and getting them started is we were using the Success Club tracker for a while too. And I do believe that it could be quite overwhelming for a new coach to do everything at once. So my coaches, when they come in, they get 2 separate paths to choose from. And again, this is me prefacing by saying, go back to what I said earlier and don't feel like you need to do exactly what I'm doing. Okay. Like when I tell you what I'm doing, if you guys like what you're doing, don't change it. But they get 2 separate paths. They get to choose walker or runner. And the walkers, and they both have to print out, no matter which route they choose, they print out what we call our 2-week consistency tracker. And the first thing that I realized when it comes out of new coaches is that the hardest part is developing belief in themselves, right? Like they have a hard time like realizing that they can do this. But so you want to give them small victories right off the bat, whether that's the first paycheck or whether that's the consistency tracker, which for me has been huge for my new coaches. So when I say walker or runner, what we do first is we set ours up to be kind of built like a house. So we have lay the foundation, which is focusing on themselves, which is working out, drinking your shake, doing your best on nutrition, challenge group, reading their coaching vision, and then putting up their walls, which is like putting up the walls to your house, which is personal development. So if they chose walker, they're doing these 2 sections for 2 weeks straight before anything. So I make sure that they develop that belief in themselves right off the bat. They do exactly what I just told you guys, that vision form. And for new coaches, it takes us like 3 revisions to finally get down to like them figuring out what they want. Because no one's ever asked them that before. No one's ever said like, what do you want out of your life? So it's up to me as their upline to be like, what do you want? And then they'll send it to me and they'll be like, be happy. And I'm like, what does that mean? So it's up to me to like communicate, with them and do that. So, but if they chose runner, they're doing the entire thing for 2 weeks straight. And they have to send it to me every single day or they don't get to level up. So for me, so the next part would be posting daily on your social media. And I'll give this to Jess. Jeff, you can share this with your team if you want it. Being present on your Instagram stories, installing your windows, which would be relationship building, sending birthday messages, engaging with stories, follow 20 people on Instagram, create a fun poll on your stories, welcome new followers, comments, whatever. And then the last one is get people into your party. So that's inviting. And then at the bottom, they get to check off their accomplishments as they do it. So got my first client, locked in Success Club, rank advance, complete, challenge. They cross this off as they send it to me. So the cool thing is that I don't just do this with my new coaches. They get added to a GroupMe of my veteran coaches who are also doing this all the time. So they see like the older coaches still doing this too. They don't feel like they're alone in this. But like I said, they'll do the first, if they're trying to master the foundation, they want to take this a little bit slower. They do this for 2 weeks, and then they'll do the whole thing for 2 weeks. But runners will go straight into it. And then the PDF that I'll give Jess, these are actually links. So this explains how to do all of these things. So I don't like get on the call with them and say like, here's how to invite. It's done. It's ready for them. And then the thing is I just tell them straight up, I'm not going to ask you for it. So just so you know, you're in this group, and I track it through Excel. Like I have like, and then so like basically that's kind of what I do is I just will say like they get an email from me that welcomes them to the team, and then it tells them to fill out their getting started guide. So that'll send them immediately to the Coach Online office to do those 22-minute videos, all of that stuff first. That's step one. And then they fill out the vision form, which we go back and forth for a while. And then the 2-week consistency tracker, then we'll get on a call. So I'm talking to them, I'm doing all the things, like they're in that GroupMe with like all my PS coaches are in one, we use GroupMe, they're in one GroupMe, they send the tracker every single day. And then once they finish, so if they did the top part is level 1, the second part is level 2, so like the whole tracker, they get shouted out in the team page as like level 2 graduate. I send them something in the mail for each level. Once they get their client a first transformation, they level up to level 3. And once they get a coach started through the whole process, they graduate to level 4, and then we're done. So they know that there's always something next. But the thing is that even when they get to level 3, they're always still doing this. So that's and I do it with them. Obviously, you can see. I send it to them too. So my newer coaches are seeing me do it also. So it's not just like, hey, go do this and send it to me for 14 days, because they're getting alerts that all these people are sending it every day. And so they basically just have to give me their start date. I write it down and I track it. And then every time that they miss a day, they have to start from back from day 1, because that's the number one thing is consistency.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I know everyone else is freaking out too.
Yeah, it's honestly like, I mean, I've had coaches hit emerald in the 2 weeks. Most of them at least get their first client, whether that's a challenge pack or at least just like a bot or something, because they're inviting. They have to invite every day, 5 minimum. So, yeah. I
love that. Thank you so much for sharing that too. That would be incredible. And I'm going to look into GroupMe. I've never heard of that.
It's great.
Is it an app or a website or both?
Yeah, it's an app. So you just get in there, and we have you just see like they're all sending them every day in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then they ask questions and stuff like that. But yeah, and then I'll just recognize them in the team page once it's done and knock them out for it.
Love it. All right, you guys, are running out of time. Does anyone else have questions for Kelsey? Speak now. Forever hold your peace.
Can you speak briefly on how you figure out who you are?
How I am? Oh, who I am?
Yeah.
Based off of what I want in my life. So my thing is that like I am, you get to choose whoever you want to be. I think a lot of times when you put yourself in this mold of like, oh, I'm just a mom, I'm just a wife. Like I decided a long time ago, like who I want to be. And then I decided to start creating her. So my thing is it's not necessarily fake it until you make it. It is 100% become your person, become who you want to be. And so for me, that vision form is probably the first place to start. It's to sit down and figure out exactly what you want. Do you want to be somebody who is carefree about money? Do you want to be someone who is a stellar mom? Like, what do you want to be? And then start molding yourself into her. Because the thing is, guys, is like the girl you're seeing today is not the girl of 2014. I made this girl. Like I created her. I decided that. So I guess the first thing is fill out that vision form, figure out what you're wanting out of your life. Number 2, Who do you have to become to get that life?
Mm.
3, start talking like her, start becoming her, start investing in personal development that revolves around what's going to make you into that person. Before you know it, you're walking the walk. Not the most ideal answer, I know, but I think like a lot of times, especially, you know, when you come into this, is that you put yourself into a box like this is all I am. But it's like, who do you want to be? And then become her.
I think that's one of the most powerful things that coaching's done for me is, like, I feel like for all of us, we've always believed who we've been told that we are by other people, or who we've been told by society that we need to do, or who we need to do. That's not right. What we need to my brain. Oh man. But I think it's the best thing, like when I've shared this with you guys, from like Liz asking me those questions of what do you want 1 and 5 years from now, it changed my entire life. I wouldn't be here if she didn't ask me those questions. And it's so crazy. I think sometimes we just make it so much harder, like so much more complicated. It's not complicated, but it does take that diligence every day to make the decision to go to war in your mind of, am I going to be who everyone else thinks that I am, or who I used to think that I was, or what other people expect of me, or who am I going to choose to become and be today who I really want to be, purely out of what I want for my life, not based off of my past struggles. And that was one of the biggest takeaways from the Brennan Burchard conference that I went to, that I know I've shared with you guys too. But oh my goodness, they're melting. Okay, real quick, Jamie, I work well with a set goal and expectation. I know that's not how everyone works, but this girl needs goals that I tell myself have to be made. I totally get that. And I think, Kelsey, you had mentioned that too, that the goals of Diamond, and this is something that I've talked to you guys about this month, the goal of Diamond, that's the structure, right? But we have to understand why we want that. Just like Kelsey said, it's not like she's saying Elite's not important to her, but she has a vision of Disneyland for her family. In order to make that happen, you know, at rank advancing or growing in volume or whatever is going to be the avenue, the pathway that gets her to Disneyland. So, but we have to first connect with what we want and why it's important. Then we can say, this is why Diamond is a non-negotiable for me as soon as possible, because it's going to maximize my compensation. It's you know, and that's the difference, and that's the shift, which I'm so happy that you talked about, because so many people, so many of us, even in our team, and I've made this mistake as a leader on this team, it's more of like push to Diamond really fast because that's just what you do, without connecting why. And so that's why so many people drop rank as soon as it's over, because you don't have a connection as to the importance of it in your life. Instead, it's just like a temporary shiny object. So I hope that was helpful a little bit, Jamie. And I know you, and Jamie, and I know that you need that structure. And so that's why, like, the Diamond Tracker, I think will be great for you. And I know that you're using it, and the Success Hub Tracker, I know that you're doing it and you're actually thriving off of that, which is awesome. And that's what Kelsey was saying too. Do what works for you. And that doesn't work for everybody. And that's totally fine. And we all have to be more honest, I think, with ourselves in that. All right, I don't want to waste any more of your time, Kels, and for everybody else, we've reached our hour mark. But thank you so much for this. I know everyone's going to probably rewatch the recording. Just so everyone knows, I'm putting a post up in our team page because I want to hear your takeaways. I want to hear your recap, and I want to make you rewrite out and re-go through this process. And what are you going to do differently because of what you learned? This could be a pivotal moment in all of your lives and your business. I don't take that lightly. Okay, have a good day, guys. Thank you, Kelsey. You're the best.
Thank you, Kelsey.